Jeff Francoeur, Freddie Freeman, Chase Darno, and the Atlanta Braves getting set to face the New York Mets here at Citi Field in Flushing, New York. Second of a three-game weekend series between these National League Eastern Division rivals. And a good evening, everybody. Welcome to Baseball Night in America. Kenny Albert with Tom Verducci and Harold Reynolds. Braves with a 5-1 victory in the series opener last night. Atlanta's third consecutive victory. And Tom, tonight the Braves must face the Mets' Steven Matz. 7 wins, tied for the Major League lead amongst rookie pitchers.
He is electric, but don't just take my word. How about Clayton Kershaw, the master himself, said among left-handed pitchers other than Chris Sale, Steven Matz is at the top of his list. I'll tell you someone else who knows how good he is, the Atlanta Braves. They have seen him twice this year and have yet to come close to solving Steven Matz. What really stands out to me when you look at the numbers, at a young age, he's already a premier strike thrower. You see all those strikeouts? No walks in these 2 games against Atlanta. 2 starts, 2 wins. Too good against the Braves.
And a career record of 11-3. First Mets pitcher all time to win 11 of his first 14 decisions. Now, Harold, on the other side, Braves have won 3 straight for the first time since mid-April, and Freddie Freeman, a big reason why.
Well, he's the face of the franchise, and he's starting to play like it, too. Just in this week alone, hitting .565 the last 5 games. But how about Wednesday night down in Atlanta? Go ahead and put it all together, Freddie. Show us the speed, the power, the combo. He hit for the cycle, 4 for 7 in that game. And the toughest one to get was, matter of fact, it was the single that he hits and legs out. Now, the home run flew right there, but he hits this little dribbler. Turn it on, Freddie, turn it on. He's doing it all. And you know what? He's running to Atlanta. He's not going anywhere. Everybody's talking about Freddie getting traded. He's the face of the franchise. They have to have somebody to build around. He's their guy.
10 hits and 16 at-bats over the last 3 games for Freddie Freeman. So the Braves look to make it 4 in a row tonight, but the Mets have other ideas. It's Baseball Night in America from Citi Field. Mets and Braves coming up next. Degree evening in Flushing, New York, as we get set for the Mets and the Braves here at Citi Field. Atlanta with a record of 21-46. They've won 3 straight. Chase d'Arnaud leads off. He'll be followed by Inciarte, Freeman, Francoeur, Markakis, Flowers. Bottom of the order, Snyder, Ibar, and Blair. As the Braves get set to face the 25-year-old left-hander Steven Matz, record of 7-3 this season. As Tom mentioned, 2-0 against Atlanta this year, 3-0 in his career. Our pitcher profile brought to you by Lowe's.
Well, I call him a Kershaw in training. Mid-90s fastball. The important thing, all 4 pitches he's going to throw from the same release point. Traffic troubles. Well, enough about my commute to the park today. He's actually a little bit worse consistently with runners on base than he is out of the windup. Keep an eye on that. And in a hurry, he is the fastest working pitcher in baseball. Get the ball and go.
And his teammates love that. Defensively for the Mets, they are ranked 7th in the field. There's manager Terry Collins and the interim manager in the other dugout, Brian Snitker. As Chase d'Arnaud gets set to lead off for Atlanta, the brother of the Mets, Travis d'Arnaud, who is rehabbing in AAA. Mets hope to have him back over the next couple of days. Chase 1 for 4, walked twice in last night's game, a 5-1 Braves victory.
I just find it fascinating when the family has two brothers that make it to the big leagues.
First pitch to d'Arnaud, a called strike. 0-1. Chase d'Arnaud, 29 years of age, originally drafted by the Pirates in the 4th round back in 2008. Spent last season in the Phillies organization. He'll be followed by Inciarte and then Freeman here in the top of the 1st inning. The 0-2 from Matz, and d'Arnaud strikes out on 3 pitches.
I like the sequence. I mean, after the 2nd pitch, he threw it right by him at 95, and now he goes up top, gives him a little bit different look, but again, 95 miles an hour, 3 pitches, see you later.
Defensively, guys, for the Mets, Loney, Walker, Cabrera, Flores around the infield. From left to right of the outfield, Conforto, Cespedes, and Granderson, the battery of Matz and Rivera. First strikeout for Steven Matz. He now has 17 Ks, no walks against the Braves this season.
Is that good?
What do you think, Tom?
Well, I was just wondering how many of those Ks they brought with them, because this is a good matchup for Matz. Braves really struggle against left-handed pitching.
Atlanta just 7-18 against left-handed starters this season. This month, they've already gone up against Bumgarner, Kershaw, and Lester. And out tonight, Steven Matz.
Well, that has a lot to do with it. You don't come up against too many slouch lefties right now in the big leagues. Most left-handed starters are pretty dang good. The names you mentioned were pretty good. Woo. I'm with you. I'm with you. They wanted it here.
They have that next K ready. 2 balls, 2 strikes. 1 out, top of the 1st inning. The 2-2 from Matz.
Ooh. Weird kick. Inciarte, they're expecting a lot more from him this year. He had some injuries that kind of held him back a little bit, but he hasn't been as productive as they had hoped. And they made that deal and got him over here from Arizona.
Well, you saw Kevin Seitzer, the hitting coach there. Inciarte got himself in a little bit of a jam earlier in the season, just trying to let the ball get too deep. It's a good 2-strike approach, let the ball travel, but he was handcuffing himself, and now he's catching the ball out in front a little bit better, swinging the bat better the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, Tom, I hear that term a lot now, you know, let it get deep. But with so many guys throwing in the mid-90s, it's almost like an oxymoron, right? I mean, you want to go out and get that ball a little bit sooner, I think, than letting it get deep on you.
Here's the first walk issued by Matz against the Atlanta Braves this season as Inciarte heads down to first.
See, we jinxed him. 17 strikeouts, no walks, and then he walks the next guy. Marty Foster's at home plate. I'm just going to make him throw the ball over the plate a little bit, too, it looks like.
And Harold, here's the guy you talked about in our open. He has been on fire. Freddie Freeman hit for the cycle on Wednesday. 10 hits over his last 3 games.
You know, I've always said I thought that he would win a batting title before he was done. He's that good of a hitter. Not just power, but all-around game that he's able to play.
He couldn't believe that was a strike.
No.
Yeah, this guy loves to ambush first-pitch fastballs, and Steven Matz throws a ton of first-pitch fastballs. He thought it was up. Marty Foster said it was a strike. Duplicated that one. Time to recalculate the zone, Freddie.
Even Frank Core's looking at that like, okay.
Inciarte takes his lead off first. And Matz will throw over.
And one reason Rivera is behind the plate is Matz is not very adept at holding runners, a little bit slower to the plate. He's the better thrower between Plawecki and Rivera.
Well, that's 3 fastballs. If I'm on first, I got to think he's going to throw him a breaking ball eventually, right? So I'm thinking 0-2, he might throw him a hook. You don't like to run on an 0-2 pitch, but this would be the one time I would take off against the lefty.
Inciarte holds, and Freeman fouls another one off to the left side, so the count remains 0-2. Freeman 3 for 7 lifetime against Steven Matz.
Coming right after him, too.
Time to change it up.
Yeah, he did. Well, I could change up, down, and in.
It's just a good hitter. You saw him on the 2-strike fastballs letting it travel. It's hard to get someone like Freddie Freeman to commit out front on the changeup because he stays back so well.
Double play.
4-6. Mets get the force at second. Now 2 away. Freeman on at first.
Really, you just take the force and get the out. Had he charged it a little harder, maybe did a backhand flip, you might get 2, but so early, you got such a dominant pitcher on the mound. Just take your out.
So with 2 away, here is the former Met, Jeff Francoeur, in the cleanup spot for the Braves. And the curve is in for a called strike, 0-1.
Talking about ambushing the first pitch fastball. You saw the breaking ball to Francoeur. He'll swing from the on-deck circle looking at that heater.
Francoeur falls behind 0-2 following a 6-pitch at bat to Freeman. Matz threw 8 pitches to Inciarte. Markakis on deck. Should Francoeur reach? The 0-2 from Matz. Now 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Tom Francoeur's turned his career around.
And one thing he still does really well, hit left-handed pitching. There's the numbers right there. He said the difficulty about facing Matz is he can throw that changeup in fastball counts. You just saw him double up on the changeup right there. Very unusual to see a pitcher whose stuff that he can throw at any count, any pitch. Especially the changeup, tremendous confidence in it. Does throw a slider, but recently has kind of put that on the shelf. He feels like that creates some elbow issues for him. Might see only 1 or 2 sliders a game.
Ball 2, says Mark Wegner, the first base umpire. 2-2 on Francoeur. 22 pitches so far thrown by Steven Matz here in the first inning. Pitch 23, high and away, full count.
Yeah, I talked about Matz, how quickly he works. I think sometimes he works too quickly, especially with runners on base. You know, sometimes you need to be your own pitching coach. Back off the mound, get yourself together. Jumped ahead on the count, and now he's got back to a neutral count with the runner running on the pitch here.
There goes Freeman. Francoeur down on strikes. 2 strikeouts for Matz in the inning. The Braves strand 1. With a record of 36-30. Curtis Granderson will lead off. Then Cabrera, Cespedes, Walker in the cleanup spot. Conforto, Flores, Loney, Rivera, and Matz. As the Mets get set to face the 24-year-old right-hander Aaron Blair. Still looking for his first big league victory. 0-4 over 9 starts this season. Our pitcher profile sponsored by Lowe's. Blair made his major league debut against the Mets back in late April. He was matched up with Jacob deGrom. Went 5 1/3, allowed 3 runs on 6 hits. Curtis Granderson 6 leadoff home runs this season. One shy of the franchise record, which was set by Granderson last year.
And there's a reason for that. I call him the best keyhole hitter in baseball. He struggles against breaking balls, but fastballs in a very specific spot he unloads. And right there, he thought he was getting the fastball. That, to me, is Blair's best pitch, the changeup.
Granderson working on an 8-game hit streak. He was 2 for 4 with a double in last night's game. Blair wins the battle, 1 away.
Well, I said his best pitch is the changeup, but it only works if he has fastball command. It has to be set up by well-placed fastballs. Beware the first inning, like a lot of young pitchers. Opponents hitting .375 against him in the first inning in his 9 starts. And first batters of innings, well, he took care of that one. That's been a problem this year. A .409 on base percentage. That's way too high.
With 1 away, Asdrubal Cabrera steps in. First pitch, base hit center field.
Beautiful swing. Looked for a fastball inside half and just stayed on it. Took it right back up the middle.
So with a one-out base runner, Yoenis Cespedes.
Saw him in the clubhouse today. He's bigger than he was last season. A lot stronger up top.
I didn't think he needed to get any stronger.
I didn't either, but he clearly must have thought he did.
Cespedes facing Blair for the first time. 16 home runs this season, 5th in the National League. He leads the Mets with 42 runs batted in.
How about the white kicks there, H? The white shoes. We saw Matt Harvey last night taking the mound with the white spikes. We're going back to the swinging A's in the 1970s.
No rules on shoes anymore, right? You can wear whatever you want now?
I think officially it's still on the books.
I thought there was a dress code, but guess not. I dig the white shoes, though.
You mentioned the A's. Charlie Finley also owned the California Golden Seals of the National Hockey League at the time, and they wore white ice skates.
An idea so great, it was never repeated.
Correct. The 2-0 to Cespedes.
The white shoes just take you back to childhood, though, right? I mean, you think about Joe Namath, you think about Reggie Jackson. You know, you think about those big, iconic stars wearing the white shoes with some flair.
And they bust them out for the All-Star game, too.
That was the best.
Did you have a pair, Harold?
Didn't get white ones. I had blue patent leathers, though.
Cespedes walks on 4 pitches. Runners on first and second with only 1 out. Our keys to the game sponsored by the Lincoln Motor Company.
Well, I know we've all been watching the U.S. Open on Fox, so let's stick with the golf theme, right? For the Braves, execute the short game. They just don't have a lot of power in the lineup. They need productive outs and mix in a couple of stolen bases. For the Mets, yeah, we're going Bubba Watson here. Bust out the driver. The home run is the way the Mets live and die. They're only 5-17 this year when they don't hit a home run.
Neil Walker has hit 14 of the 88 home runs off Met bats.
I want you to watch this setup here by Neil Walker and his front leg especially. It reminds me, you know, when you're a kid, you get called to the principal's office and you're a little nervous, you don't know what's coming, your legs start shaking a little bit, waiting for the principal to get your attention. That front leg. Get a little step there and a little toe tap just as a timing mechanism.
Well, whatever he's doing is working because he's got some power.
Yeah, and Harold, you know, what's interesting is especially from the right side this year, which always has been his weak side, and he actually took away that toe tap from the right side.
You know, most switch hitters, you look at yourself as 2 different hitters. At least I know I did. There was a right and a left. The only 2 guys that I can even remember, Pete Rose and Eddie Murray, they both had great careers, mimicked both sides of the plate. Other than that, I think almost every switch hitter, you hit different from both sides of the plate. And I always looked at it like I'm a right-handed hitter right-handed, and I'm a different guy left.
Well, he told me ideally he does want the same swing from both sides, just not comfortable with the toe tap on the right side.
So when Blair came out really nice, aggressive to Granderson, got ahead, went to the nice changeup. Now he's nibbling. And this is a product of being hit early in games and hit often. Start to nibble. Then you find yourselves in bad counts like this.
Seven of the last 8 pitches from Blair have been balls. 3-1 to Walker. Catch is made by the center fielder Inciarte for out number 2.
Hard out.
We talked about the first inning troubles for young Aaron Blair. It's not really the highest scoring in all of baseball anyway, because the lineups are set in an ideal manner, but for him it's been a nightmare. The highest of any starter with at least 9 starts this year. That's a huge pitch right there, though. 3-1 fastball, and Walker was on it, but it turned out to be an out.
Well, that's in the gap, and it's 2 quick runs in a hurry because Cespedes is scoring easy from first. Ball's hit hard, but sometimes it finds people. Got in on him just a little bit.
So with 2 away, here's Michael Conforto, who has been bothered by a wrist injury, just 7 hits in his last 61 at bats. Conforto 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts in last night's game.
You know, Kenny, the defense will tell you a lot about a hitter. When Conforto came up, they didn't put this all-out shift on him. And I know he added the power and he started hitting some balls in the seats and everybody got giddy about it. But he used to spray the ball quite a bit. And now you're overplaying to the right side of the infield and the center fielder shades him towards right center now. He used to shoot that ball left center field, shoot the ball the opposite way. Now, this is what he's become. And I think he's got to go back to being that complete hitter if he wants to get that average and be the hitter the Mets are hoping he'll be.
Bounce to the right side into the shift. So Blair gets out of the inning. The Mets strand 2 in the bottom of the first. No score from Citi Field. Tonight's telecast is sponsored by the Lincoln Motor Company and the exhilarating new Lincoln MKZ. Beautiful evening in New York. Top of the 2nd inning with the Mets and Braves scoreless. Nick Markakis leading off against Steven Matz. On the first pitch, he grounds out to Cabrera for out number 1 after Matz threw 24 pitches in the first inning. 1 pitch, 1 out here in the second.
Well, that's how you keep yourself in the game a little bit longer than most people think. Hey, I love, Tom, their middle infield. Walker and Cabrera. I liked it when they made the move. I like it now. And for that example right there, you hit a ball to them, they're going to catch it. They will catch it and convert it. That was a hold your breath moment last year for the Mets. Every time a ball was hit the shortstop.
Yeah, well, you remember last year in the World Series, the scouting reports for the Royals. Let's take advantage of the infield, put the ball on the ground. And as it turned out, that did become a factor in the World Series. And talking to Dickie Scott, their bench coach, he talked about exactly what you said, Harold, how reliable this infield has been, especially in the middle. Some questions when they made the moves in the offseason, especially about Cabrera, but he's been better than advertised.
Yeah, Terry Collins, Kenny, really, he raved about Asdrubal Cabrera today. Go get it, Sespe.
It will roll to the wall off the bat of Tyler Flowers. Flowers in with a stand-up double.
Sign of power right there. You know, so often we think power is hitting the ball into the seats. This ball jumps off his bat, and it ran away from Cespedes. I mean, there's no chance he's even getting near that ball. Ball in the outside half. Take it with you. It's a nice piece of hitting. Where it's thrown, take it that way.
Fifth double of the season for Flowers. Strike one to Brandon Snyder, former first-round pick of the Orioles back in 2005, playing in his 9th game with the Braves this season. And for more on Snyder, downstairs to JP Morosi. JP.
Yeah, Kenny, this is actually Brandon Snyder's first start in the major leagues since September 28th, 2013. He signed a minor league deal with the Braves, was not even invited to major league camp, but played very well at AAA Gwinnett, where the Braves' current manager, Brian Snitker, began this season as well.
Thanks, JP. And that last start back in 2013 was as a member of the Boston Red Sox.
Well, it's nothing to snicker about, because he helped him out, it sounds like. That's the best thing about having a guy who's seen you play, be able to have some influence, and be able to suggest, I think he can handle it up here, give him a shot.
Brian Snitker, familiar with many of the players on the Braves roster. What a story. We spent about 45 minutes with Brian, and he was named interim manager just over a month ago. Took over for Freddie Gonzalez, and he's been in the Braves organization for 40 years.
Amazing.
In so many different capacities. Popped up to the right side. The second baseman Walker makes the catch for out number 2.
No, it was an amazing story, and what a time spending with him. He's been a pitching coach, a bench coach, third base coach, the roving instructor, catching coach, you name it. He's done everything in the organization. And Hank Aaron was the first one that brought him in here, signed by Bob Didier as a free agent, a college free agent at that. He didn't get drafted. So what a start, and to be in the same organization for 40 years, you just don't hear that anymore.
Right, imagine that as the Mets will intentionally walk Ibar. You spent a couple of years in the minor leagues, cup of coffee at AAA, you retire, and you get a phone call from Hank Aaron offering you a job.
Pretty cool. Yeah, I didn't realize in talking to Brian earlier how long Hank was actually the farm director with the Atlanta Braves. He did it for a number of years. And how soon he did it, you pointed that out, Kenny, that he had to walk basically off the field to become the farm director.
And he was a huge influence on Brian Snitker, as was Cito Gaston, his former roommate as minor league coaches. Cito introduced Brian to his wife 37 years ago. 2 on, 2 out. Here's Aaron Blair, who has gone 1 for 12 at the plate this season.
And you know the classic of it? It was your typical minor league call-up story. You know, he's at breakfast in the morning at a diner in a small minor league town and gets a call.
He walked outside to take that phone call and having breakfast with his wife in Buford, Georgia.
You talk about paying your dues. The oldest first-time manager in about 30-some-odd years, Bobby Maddock of the Blue Jays.
He said the first month has been a blur. Who sent him a bottle of champagne after his first victory as a major league manager? The man he replaced, Freddie Gonzalez.
What a classy move.
Yeah, it was really class. Says a lot about who Freddie is.
The 1-2 to Blair. Strikeout number 3 for Steven Matz to end the inning. The Braves strand 2. Middle of the second, still scoreless. Tonight's telecast is sponsored by Chevrolet. Find new roads. Bottom of the second inning from Citi Field. New York Mets, Atlanta Braves scoreless. As Wilmer Flores will lead things off for the Mets. Now their third baseman with David Wright out once again, underwent neck surgery earlier this week out west.
Yeah, wow.
Captain, the leader of this Mets squad. Now territory, it's the third baseman Snyder, one away.
Yeah, that's such a tough story to hear about with David Wright. You know, he went through the back injury last year, now the neck surgery. Don't know when he's going to get back. Look at his career numbers right here with the Mets, how important he's been to this organization.
They're going to miss him big time in a lot of ways. I think especially from the leadership standpoint. You know, Terry Collins talked about that last year when he was not around the team. There was a clear void in that clubhouse. And already there is one now with David Wright not around.
James Loney smacks the first pitch from Blair into the right field corner. On his way to second, and Loney is in with a stand-up double.
Boys aren't waiting around tonight. Get your pitch you're looking for and hit it. That ball's on the outside half, but he's looking for a fastball, and he knows what he wants to do with it. That's why he's able to hook it down the line and keep it fair. It's the advantage of being up in a count 0-0, 1-0, 2-0, 2-1, 3-1, stuff like that. You can look for that one specific pitch and get out in front of it.
So the Mets with a runner in scoring position with one out, and Rene Rivera, the Mets catcher, at the plate. Guys, you talk about the leadership from David Wright, and last season, even when he was not able to play, he was such a presence in that clubhouse. And Terry Collins told us earlier today, losing David's presence certainly hurts.
Well, quick story for you, because he's not afraid to get on his teammates. That's part of what a leader does. There was a game in Milwaukee the other day when the Mets were there. Well, look, they were in the field. there was one person in the dugout. It was Steven Matz. Everybody else who was not in the game was back in the clubhouse. You guys, you got to watch the game. You know, not to say you can't ever go back, but the entire team basically was camped out inside. That doesn't happen when David Wright is around. He's keeping people involved in the game. Little things like that. The captain takes care of.
Big difference, too. I thought this at bat right here with Rivera is interesting because you get the double there from Loney, and with the pitcher hitting behind you, you generally are not going to get a whole lot to hit. Although Matz is a pretty good hitting pitcher, it's tough mentally for that 8-hitter to think, okay, they're really going to come after me. You're probably not going to get a fastball. And that's why I always like guys that hit a breaking ball off-speed pitches hitting 8th, because that's usually what you're going to see. A little changeup right there.
That's actually the curveball. That is not his best pitch, probably his 4th best pitch. Good call. Just a spinner left up in the zone, got away with it.
I should have just said off speed, that would have been safe. You're right, though. Curveball.
A shot down to third, knocked down by Snyder. Rivera retired, now 2 away.
Well, that ball hurt. One of those sharp ones. I was watching ground balls today, and this dirt looks like the ball kicks on the last hop or two and picks up a little bit of speed. And so that's an advantage to the home team. They're used to taking ground balls on here. You know how it's going to react. And I was down there watching batting practice, particularly during the Mets taking ground balls, and it seemed like every ball kind of jumped on them. It takes you a day or so to adjust to that, and then next thing you know, you're out of here and you're on the road.
You mentioned Matz being a good hitter. Not often you'll see the catcher go out to talk to the pitcher with the pitcher due up and 2 outs, but that's exactly what Tyler Flowers did.
Matz with 5 hits in 21 at-bats this season. Including a triple against the Pirates 2 starts ago. Matz with 2 extra base hits this season.
I was more impressed with the speed, watching him run, than the swing. He's a good athlete. He played some basketball in high school, Tom.
He is a good athlete. I don't know if he played hoops, but it's just freaky the way all these Mets pitchers hit from the wrong side of the plate. There's his mom and dad. The lefties hit from the right side. The righties hit from the left side. And I say that's the wrong side because as a pitcher, you're exposing your throwing arm.
Yeah, I was just going to say that.
Syndergaard bats left-handed. DeGrom bats left-handed. Zach Wheeler bats left-handed. Steven Matz bats right-handed. All with their pitching arm exposed to the baseball.
And of course, Bartolo Colon with his first career home run earlier this season.
How about we get him in the home run derby?
Noah Syndergaard's pushing for it. Matz strikes out. Flowers could not find the baseball. Throws down to first, and Matz is retired. Mets now 0 for their last 17 with runners in scoring position as Loney is stranded on second. Freddie Freeman due up third for the Braves when we return. above Citi Field as we head to the third. Kenny Albert, Harold Reynolds, Tom Verducci, J.P. Morosi. Mets and Braves are scoreless. Chase d'Arnaud leading off for Atlanta. Struck out in the first inning. Braves have won 3 straight. Their season high 4 consecutive victories back in mid-April. 12-18 under interim manager Brian Snitker.
You know what, Kenny? JP's been sitting on a nugget on this guy, just dying. I can hear him. I heard it all day. What is it, JP? What do you got?
Yeah, guys, Chase d'Arnaud is actually the front man of his own band, the Chase d'Arnaud Band. On the Braves' off day last week, in fact, he brought that band to Bonnaroo, a huge music festival in Nashville, Tennessee. So Chase d'Arnaud, multi-talented infielder for the Braves.
He did that during the season?
During the season, on an off day, a well-timed off day, Harold, at Bonnaroo.
Drives this one into right field. Granderson under it. I wonder if Chase will be sticking around for the post-game concert here tonight.
Hey, he may be opening for that. Wow. Okay, then. Well, we know who's got the chops in the family.
So d'Arnaud 0 for 2 after attending Bonnaroo, according to JP.
There you go. Bonnaroo. I've never heard of that. Have you? Had you heard of that?
I've heard of it. I haven't been there.
Had you heard of it, Tom?
No. I mean, I've heard of it, but I haven't been there either. My next off day, though, next time it comes around, I know where I'll be.
Head to Nashville.
Wow.
Freddie Freeman on deck. Inciarte at the plate. Walked his first time up. Inciarte came over from the Arizona Diamondbacks, along with tonight's starter Aaron Blair, in the deal last December.
You know, I mentioned that Matt sometimes has to be his own pitching coach. He just did that. You know, 2-0 count. Got out of his delivery a little bit, walked off the back of the mound, came back and threw a seed. And another one.
Two from Matz. Bounce to the third baseman Flores for out number 2. Baseball's 2 biggest summer events back to back. The T-Mobile Home Run Derby on ESPN July 11th at 8 Eastern. And the very next night, don't miss baseball's biggest stars at the 87th All-Star Game presented by MasterCard July 12th on Fox. Coverage begins at 7:30 Eastern.
Well, we'll see this guy at the All-Star Game. He's got to represent the Braves, right?
Watch first pitch.
He's already gone twice in 2013 and 14 to the Midsummer Classic.
He's not digging the strike zone tonight, is he?
No.
The 0-1 from Matz. Nothing in 2.
You know, I said first pitch because a couple of reasons. Matz, he's going to pump in about 80% fastballs to lefties first pitch. 2 outs, base is empty. He's going for extra bases, so you're sitting on fastball right there. He just thought it was out of the zone.
That was the first ball Matz has thrown to Freeman. The first 8 pitches tonight Freeman faced were strikes.
Ouch.
I don't know how anybody catches. And you're reminded every game why it's so difficult. That ball's right on the end. Even though he's got all that equipment on him, it hit right on the inside half of the knee.
Well, you can see his setup where the inside of the leg was exposed there, creating a little bit of an angle to frame the pitch away a little better. Watch the angle of the body. The left foot is a little farther in front, exposing the knee, and ouch.
Man, that hurt. You know, I was here the other day, and Rene Rivera, the Mets did something really special. I thought it was really cool. They had press conference for him, all in Spanish.
Freeman down on strikes to be continued. A 1-2-3 third for Steven Matz. Scoreless bottom of the third inning as Curtis Granderson leads off for the New York Mets against Aaron Blair. Granderson struck out back in the first inning. Blair making his 10th big league start, looking for his first victory. Right back to the box, snared by Blair to retire Granderson.
Unbelievable.
Well, coverage of the 116th U.S. Open Championship from historic Oakmont Country Club continues tomorrow as they finish third round play at 7 Eastern on FS1. That's 7 a.m. Eastern. Then it's final round coverage beginning at 11 Eastern on Fox, or you can watch it all on Fox Sports Go.
Hey, no, I asked Jeff Francoeur, who's a big golfer, if he's played Oakmont. Of course he had, just a couple of weeks ago. He told me after playing Oakmont, he was exhausted. He was more tired playing that course than any other course. That's how difficult a test it is, almost more mentally than physically as well.
Is it bigger?
It's just, it gives such penalties to even average shots. Typically a bad shot, you get penalized. You miss by a little bit there, you get penalized. It's kind of like a pitcher pitching with the bases loaded every batter. Very stressful.
Watch this swing by Cabrera. You got me thinking about different swings and stuff like that. But he's trying to shoot that ball. Now you got the third baseman back where the shortstop's at. All he was trying to do was shoot the ball the other side. I thought it was interesting with Granderson up. It's probably the first. Watch this swing by his dribble. That's the inside pitch trying to shoot it to left field or to that left side of the infield. Granderson is probably the only leadoff guy I've seen where they overshift so much and basically say, you're not going to bunt, you're not going to do anything, you're going to try to hit a homer.
Cabrera down on strikes. Third strikeout for Aaron Blair.
That's a nice little changeup he got him out in front of right there. Up back to breaking ball. Off speed. It's giving them 2 or 3 different looks now. This place comes alive when La Potencia comes to the plate. As Dan Plesac would say, that's Spanish for the man. Speaking of my man Dan Plesac, you know, he had an injury and he had hip surgery the other day. He's on crutches now for 3 months.
And how did he get hurt?
Golfing. But he's sitting there tonight.
Sport.
Sent me a text. He's watching the game. So Dan, get well. Gonna miss you around. Are you saying he was clumsy with that move, Tom?
And he was playing so well. He was so excited about his game. Those golf gods are cruel.
Man.
All right, Dan, Harold, can't wait for you to get back to work.
What a good guy. He's great people. You know, it's funny. You're around guys, you don't get to know them, and then you spend some time around Dan. His personality is just electric. He brings everybody alive. He's fun to be around all day, always upbeat. I like happy people, you know?
He loves being around the horses, too.
Yes, he does. Actually raised them. That's why he knows so much about them. So, incredible. See all that off of Cespedes' nickname.
Cespedes walked his first time up, the 2-1. And he sends this one to deep left center. Yoenis Cespedes has given the Mets a 1-0 lead with his 17th home run of the season.
Kenny, you can't come in here wearing white shoes if you don't put on a show. The minute the man gets off the on-deck circle, the place goes crazy. And he delivered on a breaking ball. He hammered it. But he does it with such style. There's just some guys that are just like, they're cool. You remember when you're a child watching games, you're like, man, he's just cool. Cespedes is just cool. He crushes this ball. He knew it immediately. But the Mets needed a star. I was excited this winter when they signed him. There really hasn't been a star like that in New York since Piazza. And I mean, where it's electric every time he comes to the plate. And that's what Cespedes has brought here.
Terry Collins told us before the game there is nothing Cespedes can't do on the baseball field.
Aaron Blair knew it. Cement mixer of a curveball right there. Key for me is Cespedes getting into hitters' counts. He's a much better hitter this year in terms of being selective. We saw the walk the first time up. That's a lot of what Kevin Long, the hitting coach, has worked with him about, is being more selective. Almost every day, Kevin Long will ask him, do you want to be an MVP? Do you want to be one of the best hitters in the game? Of course, the answer is yes, and the way there is to make pitchers come into the strike zone, and that's a great example of it right there.
And now Neil Walker bounces out to Darno to end the inning. But Cespedes takes Blair deep. His first home run in his last 23 at-bats. 6th allowed by Blair during his rookie season. 3 innings in the books. 1-0 Mets. Tonight's telecast is sponsored by Sprint. Switch and save today. Learn more at sprint.com/network. And by Bud Light. Raise one to right now. Jeff Francoeur leading off for the Braves. Here in the top of the fourth inning against Steven Matz. Francoeur struck out his first time up. Now 0 for his last 7. Middle of the order for the Braves. He'll be followed by Markakis and then Flowers. 1 and 2 on Francoeur.
This is a great location on this pitch. Up. He's trying to air it out. Not going to catch up to it at 94 right there. Right back in his hands. This is nice. Nice pitching right here by Matt.
This is 4 straight heaters all above the hands. Might be time for a changeup right here.
Don't do it.
Going back in. A little higher. Climbing the ladder.
Nice job.
Strikes out Francoeur for the second time.
You know, one time after a hitter strikes out the at-bat before, you know he's going to be trying to put that ball in play. And Matt's did a nice job of really continually climbing the ladder until Jeff showed him he's going to lay off it.
So with one away, Nick Markakis grounded out to the shortstop Cabrera. His first time up.
Where did all Markakis' power go? He had a back injury too, right?
Yeah, he had another neck surgery, actually. Very similar to what David Wright just went under. And yeah, you're talking about a corner outfielder who does not steal bases, does not hit home runs. His stock and trade now is playing the contact game. You know, one thing you'll see in this Braves lineup, Freddie Freeman's got 12 home runs. The rest of the lineup has just 7. And you watch a lot of the setups for these Braves hitters. The barrel of the bat will almost be parallel to the ground. Generally, the higher the barrel on the setup, the more power. The lower, more of an even swing just like that, a flat swing, which is more conducive to line drives than power. And a lot of these Braves like to hit with the bat almost parallel to the ground.
Well, and if you see like a Bryce Harper or Alex Rodriguez start flat, but they bring the bat up as part of their timing mechanism. And to your point, these guys are leaving it flat and continue to swing with the flat bat on the back of the shoulder. It's Kevin Seitzer. Kevin didn't hit like that either.
2 up, 2 down in the fourth.
That was an interesting point that you made about the angle of the bat, though, Tom. I don't think I've heard that.
Well, I think when you look at this Braves team, it's not as if they're underachieving in the power department. This is what they are. That's why I say they have to really string hits together, take extra bases. And that man right there, you know, if I'm the Mets or any opponent, I get out the highlighter, I get out the red pen, and I circle that name. I do anything to remind myself, don't let Freddie Freeman beat me.
Well, the crazy thing about it is the Braves, I should say, not the Mets, but the Braves are going to decide this division. You have to beat them when you play them. You cannot slip up. Now, I'm not saying they can't win games, but if you want to be the top tier of your division, you have to beat the teams that are down when they're down.
Mets 5-2 against the Braves this season. 2-2. Flowers fouls it back to the screen. Flowers doubled to right center his first time up. The only Braves hit tonight.
That's an interesting way of looking at it. And I think you're absolutely right. I think it actually puts pressure on a team, especially the Mets losing last night. You don't want to lose a series to Atlanta at home, especially.
Popped up to the right side. Loney makes the catch in fair territory. Steven Matz has retired 7 consecutive Braves. Nobody sees sports quite the way Colin Cowherd and Jason Whitlock do. The brains to know and the guts to say. Catch Colin and Jason as they team up for FS1's new daily sports talk show, Speak for Yourself, weeknights at 6 Eastern, 3 Pacific.
I actually watched that the other day. It was quite entertaining. They both can talk a lot, and they're pretty sharp at what they do. Quick wit. It's a good show.
A thumbs up from Harold.
I liked it.
Here's Michael Conforto leading off for the Mets. In the bottom of the 4th inning, grounded out to the shortstop Ibar, his first time up. Braves again in the shift against Conforto. The 1-0 from Blair. Pop foul.
So, Tom, let me ask you about Conforto's swing, because you've really studied this quite a bit.
Well, I know what Kevin Long has done with him. Very similar to what he's done with Daniel Murphy, Curtis Granderson. Moved them closer to the plate. That was the real key for Murphy and his power breakthrough in the second half of last season into the postseason.
But what that does, it does make you pull the ball a lot more.
Well, really what it does, it takes that outside pitch and makes it middle. See his hits by direction. He should, when he's going well, have a few more hits. He definitely can leave the yard the other way. But now he can take the pitch outside where pitchers want to pitch him and hit that ball out to right center because it becomes middle. Now the danger, just a bit outside. The danger for Conforto is it's tough for him to protect the inside fastball. You know, he's got to be quicker. Now I think what he's going to have to do, and this is similar to David Ortiz. David Ortiz had a hole inside with velocity on his hands when he first came up. How did he cover it? He stopped swinging at the pitch. It really is that simple.
Yeah, I still think he's got a little ways to go. I was surprised they thrust him into the 3-hole in the beginning of the year and anointed him their guy, because I always worry about young hitters, particularly left-handed, because you got to make those adjustments. And
Conforto pops it into shallow center. And Ciarte.
With his swing, his natural stride is to stride in. And if you watch him, he dives in. So now you're on the plate. Now that ball is in even more on you instead of being able to extend. See him stride? Now that ball's away like you talked about, but he's now not able to shoot it to left. He's still pulling that. But the other part with a lot of young left-handed hitters is there's no right-handed specialists late in the game. They're all lefties. So they're going to have to learn how to hit that tough left-hander as well. Thought they rushed him a little bit, throwing him in that 3 spot.
Well, he was so hot in April, he kind of earned that promotion. It's kind of like a kid, you know, graduating early from high school or college because the grades are so good, and advanced placement. But for Conforto, I think you hit on something else there. You know, for the master's degree, you got to learn how to hit left-handed pitching.
No doubt.
And what they're doing with Conforto, they're bringing him out early to hit off Dan Worthen, who throws left-handed, the pitching coach, just to see the ball out of a left-hander's hand again and again and again.
I like that thought. A lot of clubs hire left-handed pitchers to throw, and it's good. I still think the problem I have with baseball today, and it's not necessarily just to Michael Conforto, but I watched it in LA with Seager, I watched it with Jock Peterson. These guys have to hit lefties. If they're that franchise type of player, let them play. They have to be able to play. And it's got to happen in the minor leagues. You can't sit there and platoon guys in the minors. They got to play. There's not one player in the big leagues right now, or it's signed, I'll go as far as a professional contract, that grew up being platooned. You didn't. You played every day. And the only way you're going to be able to be effective at the big league level is to be able to play every day when you're young. And then you can go ahead and be a platoon guy and pick pitchers for you and stuff like that as you get older.
Two and two on Flores, 1 out, bottom of the 4th inning.
Isn't it amazing, Kenny, how one moment kind of branded Flores when he was almost traded and he didn't, he's crying, and now every time you see him you think, oh wow, this is that guy.
Of course, the Mets We're going to ship Flores in the Carlos Gomez deal. And here's another moment for Flores as he goes deep to give the Mets a 2-0 lead, his third home run of the season. No tears tonight from Wilmer.
It's the best thing that could have ever happened to his career. It turned out to be a great moment, and it just, the fans here embraced him because of it. Have you seen that happen before, Tom, with any players?
Not quite like that. And it's a good thing that trade did go through, because then the Mets got Cespedes. But this is a mistake by Aaron Blair. That's the only pitch that Flores can hit out of the ballpark. Fastballs in lower half. That is his nitro zone. Time and time again, he just eats up this pitch. You saw Flowers, how much the glove moved from target to location. Costly mistake.
Well, the other thing about it is he just rifled the ball over in the stands over the third base coach's box into left down the line, so you know he's looking to pull a ball inside.
Second home run for the Mets tonight, their 90th this season. Only the Washington Nationals have hit more in the National League.
They hit homers, they win. Pitching's too good.
And now a base hit off the bat of James Loney. Rolls to the warning track and the wall in right center.
No.
Loney on his way to third, and he is in.
It hit him, or he was dead. I couldn't believe he was challenging him.
Harold was playing the role of the second base coach.
Oh, look at James.
Yeah, change up. It's not a terrible location. James Loney's feeling frisky getting around second. I guess he didn't hear you, Harold, because you're absolutely right. Dead to rights at third, except for the fact the ball hits him.
You know, when a guy comes around third, see him take the angle away from the throw? That's why you make that wide turn, and that's one of the reasons you always dive head first. When you go head first, your body covers that whole surface. You go feet first, you come into a little silicone area. But I've always thought if you dive head first, you take things away.
And now Rivera shoots this one to deep center field. Coming in to score from third is Loney on the sacrifice fly. 10th run batted in of the season for Rivera, extending the Mets lead to 3-0.
I love the gamble by Loney. That's what set this up. To get to third base with less than 2 outs changes everything.
He got lucky.
He did.
I think you saw Freddie Freeman get the cycle this week, and he said, he can do it? All right, I'm going to do it. Got a double and a triple in his pocket right now.
His first triple since 2011 as a member of the Dodgers. And now Matz down the right field line. Running catch is made by Markakis, but the Mets score 2. They add to their lead. First, Flores went deep, and then Loney scores following his triple. Number 3 off the bat of Wilmer Flores. The sacrifice fly by Rivera. 3-0 New York. Steven Matz and the Mets out to a 3-0 lead over the Braves. Bottom of the order for Atlanta, as Brandon Snyder takes a called strike. Popped out to the second baseman Walker back in the second inning.
And Steven Matz has a beautiful delivery, but I'll tell you something that I've noticed that I really like about him, and that's watching him warm up between innings.
Base hit into right field off the bat of Snyder, bounces off the wall, and Snyder is in at second with a stand-up double, leading off the 5th inning for Atlanta.
That's a great adjustment by Snyder.
Yeah, somebody finally got on top of that high fastball. 94 above the belt. Nice job. He's thrown a lot of those, Matz has.
Yeah, and then he finally got somebody to hit it. But you're watching him during in between innings, huh?
Well, remember I talked about at the top that Matz is much better out of the windup. This is Matz on his warm-up pitches. Most pitchers you will see will throw every pitch out of the windup, and then their last pitch they'll go to the stretch. That's what Aaron Blair does. Watch Matz. Each one thrown with a purpose, takes his time. Most of his pitches, he gets the ground ball here to Cabrera, are thrown out of the stretch. Why do I like that? Because I listened to a guy like Greg Maddux who did the same thing and would throw most of his bullpens out of the stretch. And when I asked him why, he said, think about it. When do you have to make your biggest pitches of the game? You make them with runners on base when you're in the stretch. And that's why I think it's more important to take your warm-ups out of the stretch. 90% of people must have got this handbook that says you throw from the windup your last pitch, you just go through the motions out of the stretch. That's what Aaron Blair has been doing tonight.
Yeah, it's like guys take batting practice, all they see is a fastball. Well, why you can't hit a breaking pitch because you're not working on hitting them. It's good, Tom.
Blair struck out his first time up. He grew up in the baseball hotbed of Las Vegas. He played on a Little League travel team with Chris Bryant. Knew him since they were 7 years old.
That Vegas program, man, pumped up. Bryant, you got Harper,
Joey Gallo.
Greg Maddux is like, I'm the one in the Hall of Fame. Nobody mentions that. I started it all. Wasn't Mike Morgan from there too?
Yeah, went straight from high school to the big leagues.
Yeah.
This looked like a changeup here, a breaking ball.
Yeah.
Against underneath Rivera. You won't see too many of those with Rivera. Very good receiver back there.
And they're giving Blair a run. Now they're bringing the infield in. They're say if he puts the ball in play, they were giving him a run.
Yeah, I wouldn't concede a run here. You know, chances are, well, he's not even going to put it in play. He wouldn't hit it hard.
That's where you got to get the punch out.
Strikeout number 6 for Steven Matz. Now 2 away. MLB.TV Premium, the #1 live streaming sports service, delivers everything you have come to expect and more. Watch every out-of-market game live in HD on over 400 supported devices. Visit MLB.TV for details. d'Arnaud 0 for 2. Struck out in the first, fly to right in the third. Snyder, a leadoff double. Moved to third on a wild pitch.
I don't think he can catch up to his fastball. He did him a favor with the breaking ball right there. The first 2 ABs, he has not come close to hitting that heater. Right there, he threw one by him again.
Especially elevated like that. Might be time to climb that ladder once again, go a little higher.
Matz, the National League Rookie of the Month back in May.
Just to finish the point on Matz, look at the difference with runners on and the base is empty. And he did try to climb that ladder a little too high. Couldn't get temptation to work in his favor right there.
What's the other thing, Tom? Again, I mean, I'm sure he probably hasn't had a whole lot of base runners on base in his life. You know, you get to the big leagues that fast, you think about how dominant he had to be in all his previous games. Got a fastball up.
Base hit into right field, scoring Snyder. So the Braves cut the Mets lead to 3-1.
Watch the adjustment he makes. Look how much he choked up on that bat. See that? He wasn't catching up to the fastball at all. And now he chokes up, and it allowed him to be able to poke it into right field. Little subtle things are the adjustments you have to make if you want to continue to be a player up here. That's a nice job by him. I tip my cap. He had no chance on the fastball before that.
Fifth run batted in for d'Arnaud this season. Here's Inciarte, 0 for 1 with a walk.
Well, that's that Braves baseball we talked about, right? Good short game.
Yeah.
They're not going to beat you to death with extra base hits. Took advantage of the wild pitch, and then, as you mentioned, a really good two-strike approach.
And the other thing I'm doing right here, I got to send him.
I'm with you.
You got 2 outs. He gets thrown out. You got Inciarte leading off the next half inning. But if he makes it, you got a chance to drive in another run. Because if Freddie Freeman gets up with runners scoring position, they're going to pitch around him. There you go. Let's take off.
And d'Arnaud is tagged out to end the inning.
Yeah, slide. Watch him kick Cabrera in the head with this slide right here.
Look back at what took place moments ago between innings.
Well, on the pickoff move, the Braves came out and wanted to argue the fact they thought it was probably a balk.
That's Terry Pendleton, the bench coach, along with manager Brian Snitker.
I think TP might be done for the night.
I think so. d'Arnaud is running first move, and Matz will react to his move. The leg goes up, and then he'll step over there. The question is, did he step too far to the plate? I did not think he did.
I think he was going to first anyway.
Curtis Granderson flies out to Markakis in right.
I will say it was an awkward move.
Yeah, but watch, most left-handers, they look at you and go home. He looks down, that's the fake, I'm gonna come over. He was doing that anyway. So I think he was coming. Now, he may have balked, he may not have, but I think he'd already made it. Most left-handed pitchers, I would say 99% of the time, have their mind made up that they are going to first before the play starts. Because it's very hard. There's few guys, Flanagan or somebody like that, who can sit there and hang and see what you're going to do and still be able to deliver a strike. That is very difficult to do. So most guys already have their mind made up.
Now, the other aspect to the play, you see the dirt on Cabrera's jersey. Looked like he was kicked up in the chest neck area when he applied the tag.
Yeah, it was a terrible slide. And he got spiked pretty good.
So Terry Pendleton has gone to the Braves clubhouse. He had been the first base coach under Freddie Gonzalez, and then when Brian Snitker was promoted to interim manager, as we take another look at the leg kick by d'Arnaud to the upper chest area of Cabrera. Snitker said, the one guy that I wanted to have with me as my bench coach was Terry Pendleton. He said we used to drive to the ballpark together all the time when I was the third base coach, and Terry made the shift from the first base coaching box to the bench next to the interim manager, Brian Snitker. As Markakis settles under it, Cabrera now 1 for 3. Tonight's telecast is sponsored by Pepsi. Tell the world how you feel and what you love with Pepsi emojis. Say it with Pepsi. Harold, I know you love emojis on your cell phone.
Yeah, you know, I'm just starting to figure that stuff out. Half the time, I don't know what anybody's saying with them anyway.
Is there a Harold Reynolds emoji?
Not that I know of. I've never.
There's got to be one out there.
We'll have to work on that.
I'm not that savvy.
Somebody else could come up with it.
That's true. That's true.
So with 2 away, here's Cespedes, who took Aaron Blair deep back in the 3rd inning, his 17th of the season.
Well, we'll go StatCast on it. Right here, he got a hanging breaking ball and hammered it. Look at the miles per hour, 103 exit velocity, and then you go 401 feet. The launch angle determines a lot of the depth on how they rate these. Because there was a home run in Texas. Remember the ball Mazzaro hit? They said it's 394 feet. And I went back and I was like, well, Joey Gallo hit one right in the same area, and his was 444. And they said a lot of it is the angle on how they do it.
StatCast powered by Amazon Web Services.
So that launch angle is key. That's why StatCast is important.
Cespedes did not go around. We mentioned the Mets have 90 home runs, 61 more than the Braves. Braves with a major league low 29. The next lowest, the Marlins with 55. 36 more than Atlanta.
The Marlins. It's because Stanton hasn't got hot. He could have 55 by himself in a season.
Neil Walker on deck should Cespedes reach. The 2-2 from Blair. Up the middle, into the shift. Cespedes retired. A 1-2-3 5th inning for Aaron Blair. 3-1 Mets. Tonight's telecast is sponsored by Lowe's and by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Hall of Famer Don Sutton in the Braves radio booth on the 30th anniversary of his 300th career victory back on June 16th, 1986, as Inciarte leads off for Atlanta. He was at the plate in the 5th inning when Darno was picked off.
Don Sutton was the first guy I faced in Major League Spring Training.
Really?
First pitcher. And it took me 4 or 5 pitches before I realized that he didn't have the Don Sutton that I saw on TV growing up. He was older then, and he wasn't throwing quite as hard. But I sat there and I was like, that's Don Sutton. Kidding me?
Well, he was pitching for the Angels at the time when he won his 300th on this date in '86. His battery mate was Bob Boone. The Angels' cleanup hitter that day was Reggie Jackson. He pitched a complete game 3-hitter. And he told me a great story before the game about that day. It was a Wednesday. It was the final game of the homestand. He had pitched on Saturday, and his manager, Gene Walk, who he loved, wanted him to do it at home. But Gene had figured out that Don usually pitched on 116 hours rest. 116 hours. He was so precise between starts, and he said, Don, if we pitch you Wednesday, I want you to do it at home. It's the final game of the homestand. You'll only be on 99 hours rest. Don said, I'll take the baseball.
And Sabermetrics thinks they invented that stuff.
Right.
That was what year?
86.
6? Wow.
Don would go on to win 24 more games, finish with 324 big league victories. On the run is Conforto, and he makes the catch in foul territory down the left field line up against the wall.
It doesn't look like much, but that's a nice catch. When you think about how he has to slow down, know there's a wall there. This is a guy who used to play in the middle of the diamond. Now he's in the corner. It's a nice adjustment. That's a nice catch.
Now remember, he's been battling wrist issues.
Could be from crashing walls. Freddie finally got a fastball, Tom.
Yeah, I mean, that's actually off speed down, but I think he just hits off anything first pitch. Doesn't have to be a heater. Boy, Matz has pitched him well tonight, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Well, you talked to Tom about how hot this guy has been. So Rivera set up almost in the other right-handed batter's box, so far outside, keeping that ball away from Freddie Freeman.
Tell you what, Freddie Freeman's playing, man. You better be ready on the other side for some foul balls.
Freeman strikes out for the second time. As we send you to Chris Myers in Los Angeles for a game break. Chris. All right, thanks very much, Chris. Now 2 away here in the top of the 6th, and Francoeur drills this one. No question about it. 3rd of the season for Francoeur. And the Braves have pulled to within a run.
Well, he got one down that time. Remember the last couple at bats, all fastballs up, and he wasn't able to catch them, particularly his last AB. This one, he got a ball down and hammered it.
Yeah, that's a changeup left up. First pitch, Francoeur got him again. Oh, my goodness. He does not get cheated, does he?
Tell you what, I'm having a tough time distinguishing between his fastball and his changeup, so that tells me his changeup's too hard. If you're throwing a changeup that hard and you're sitting heater, you can still get out in front of it. That's what happens.
Yeah, certainly poorly located. Did not want that up. We talked about Francoeur, really a first ball fastball hitter. And that looked like a fastball, BP fastball.
Third home run of the season for Francoeur. The Braves reach the 30 mark as a team. 30 home runs for Atlanta. The Marlins went deep twice today. So it's now a 27 home run deficit between the Braves and the next lowest team, as Jim Henderson is up and throwing in the Mets pen.
Well, I think the Marlins are going to win that race because Stanton is just starting to figure out his swing. He basically disappeared from the first 3 months of the season. And when he figures it out, the home run total is going to go. But also they have some guys that can hit the ball in the ballpark on that team. A little more conducive to homers.
Right back to the box. Matz over to Loney. But the Braves add a run as Jeff Francoeur goes deep against one of his former clubs. Middle of the sixth. It is now a 3-2 lead for the Mets. Neil Walker leads off for the Mets here in the bottom of the sixth inning. Mets with a 3-2 lead over the Braves as Walker takes strike one.
You know, Blair settled down nice. He was in trouble a little bit. Give that big home run to Cespedes, a solo to Flores.
He fell behind 3-0. His teammates have come back with a run in the fifth and another in the sixth.
Yeah, we talked top about his fastball command and how important it is. He's had that tonight. It set up the changeup and the curveball very well.
Alvarez and Ogando up in the Braves pen.
Yes, he did.
Walker now 0 for 3.
Why is the bullpen up? Because of this conversation right here. Dan Worth, the pitching coach, shaking the hand of Steven Matz. Nice job. You're done. 99 pitches. Why 99? Well, think about this. Steven Matz has started 17 games in the big leagues. This is number 18. He's faced only 15 batters over 100 pitches. So his artificial finish line is right around where he is right now at 99.
Well, I don't have a problem with that with him, particularly early in the year that he had some arm issues with the elbow. They were concerned about that. You talked about that earlier, Tom. He's kind of not throwing as many sliders anymore. But he also had Tommy John in his history. You got to look out for a guy like that.
Absolutely.
Missed 2 full seasons, 2010 and 11, following Tommy John surgery. He's never thrown more than 110 pitches in a big league game.
Well, he still has a lot of governors on him. 18 starts, only 5 times has he pitched on the 5th day. So extra rest is normal rest for Steven Matz. There'll be a time when we'll cut him a little looser with the pitch count and how often they work him. Not yet.
The 0-2 to Conforto. Fouled off down the left field line.
You know, last year the Mets, we talk a lot about the trade where they got Uribe and Kelly Johnson, but you also, Conforto came up, gave them a little lightning. Cespedes did.
And Conforto is now 0 for 3.
Blair has really settled down here. What I like about him is I think he's got more to the sinker than the 4-seamer. He actually throws like a little guy. Marcus Stroman only 5'8". Blair 8 inches taller, but you'll see throw the ball from almost the same point off the ground. Blair is a long strider with a low release point. That's only about 5.5 feet off the ground. Now, why is that important? Well, when you throw a 4-seamer with such a low release point off the ground, it has no plane to it. It arrives very flat, and that's why hitters are hitting almost 400 off his 4-seam fastball. Marcus Stroman got to the big leagues as a 4-seam fastball pitcher. He has transitioned to a 2-seam pitcher.
Marcus Stroman, who grew up near Steven Matz on Long Island. In fact, there was a legendary matchup between the two that scouts still talk about to this day.
And Masahiro Tanaka, another guy, went from 4-seamer to 2-seamer. 2-seamer, you're relying on movement. 4-seamer, you're relying on plane. So the pitchers with the higher release point have more success with the 4-seam fastball. Now, he'll throw 2 4-seamers for every 2-seamer. I think in time, he needs to switch that ratio, become more of a 2-seam pitcher. He's had a good one tonight.
Well, if you think about it, you know, how many guys are going to see in high school or college 91, 95? You know, so the 4-seamer is going to live. When you get to the big leagues, these guys are seeing that kind of velocity. Now you got to add movement. You got to have movement or you get beat up.
Center field off the bat of Flores, and the catch is made by Inciarte to end the inning. Blair has retired 8 Mets in a row. David Ortiz, Bryce Harper, Chris Bryant, Mike Trout, and all the baseball superstars come together for the primetime event that will light up the summer. The MLB All-Star Game from San Diego, July 12th, only on Fox.
I've always loved the All-Star Game, even when I was a kid. It's a great time.
Less than a month away, our Budweiser game summary. Solo home runs for Yoenis Cespedes and Wilmer Flores. Jeff Francoeur with his third of the season for the Braves. And now Tyler Flowers drills this one. Wow. On the first pitch from Jim Henderson, and we are tied at 3.
Wow. That ball was blistered out of here. Tyler Flowers. Now, he showed some flashes of power when he was with the White Sox. Every now and then. Tonight has really been impressive.
Well, the Braves swing at more first pitches than any team in baseball. Fastball. Henderson throws a ton of four-seam fastballs. Got exactly what he went up to the plate looking for. Hammered.
5th home run allowed by Henderson. 4th of the season for Flowers. So on his first pitch, the 33-year-old right-hander allows a solo home run. 2nd in 2 innings for the Braves as they have come back from a 3-0 deficit to tie the game with a run in the 5th, a run in the 6th, and now a run in the 7th. Braves with 5 base hits. 4 have gone for extra bases, 2 doubles and 2 home runs. Brandon Snyder doubled, came around to score his last time up. The 1-2 from Henderson. Missing high, now 2-2. Gary Blevins up in the Mets pen. So after the Mets took a 3-0 lead, Steven Matz will not be involved in the decision tonight.
Yeah, it's a tough one. You almost have to get used to it, I guess, though, right? I mean, you have to throw 90 pitches, 5 innings.
Exactly. As you know, as a young pitcher, you're going to lose some wins just because of that low pitch count, or at least the limit on the pitch count, right around 100. Now Henderson's stock in trade is that four-seam fastball. Tall pitcher who does have a higher release point, tries to drive it down. Trying to get this one away right here to Snyder.
The 2-2 from Henderson. Missing away, full count.
Well, he used to have that exploding fastball and a nasty curveball. He was so tough to pick up.
Doesn't throw that breaking ball, that hard slider, as much as he used to. A lot of fastballs.
That's why a lot of guys are on him. I don't know why he got away from that. It was a really good pitch.
He's had some shoulder issues. Terry Collins telling us before the game he's a guy you have to really keep an eye on in terms of the workload. Bouncing back 2 days in a row, especially.
Ninth pitch of the at-bat to Snyder. Cabrera, one away.
Well. Strubel Cabrera, smooth. How about some of the plays he used to make when he was in Cleveland playing short?
It's like he didn't even need a glove, right?
Oh, my gosh.
A lot of bare hand plays, a la Omar Vizquel.
Here's Dan Worthen, Mets pitching coach, out for a chat with Jim Henderson. Jerry Blevins on the right.
Well, you got the switch hitter and Ibar, and the conversation can simply be, you know, they're going to keep him on the left side of the plate right here.
Clock's running down. No timeouts left.
And they're going to go with that. Looks like they're, what are they doing? That's it. So they're going to flip that Ibar to the right side and go to Blevins.
Jim Henderson faced two batters here in the 7th. Terry Collins over for a chat.
Yeah, and I think they noticed in the dugout his velocity's down. I mean, when he's on, he's mid-90s, 95, 96. We saw a few 91s and 92s there. It's interesting, when Worthen went out, it was Henderson who was doing most of the talking. I think it had more to do with the way he was feeling than strategy.
You saw the Mets trainer Ray Ramirez listening in to the conversation. So here's the 6'6" left-hander Jerry Blevins in to face Eric Ibar. Blevins has not allowed a run in his last 18 outings, covering 10 1/3 innings. Adonis Garcia has come out into the on-deck circle with the pitcher Blair due up next. The 0-2 to Ibar. Gets away from the catcher Rivera. Throw down to first is in time for out number 2.
That's a heck of a play right there by Rivera. You got a guy in Ibar who can run. He has to locate the ball, spin and throw a strike. Watch how quick he gets on this ball. Kicks away, and now he's going to do it all in one motion, spin and throw, and whiz one right by Ibar's ear. That may not show up big in the box score, but that's a runner on first base. And the inning extends a little bit. That's a heck of a play.
He looked like Cabrera throwing from that position, like a shortstop.
Yes.
So here's Garcia, 0 for 2 as a pinch hitter this season. Batting .256 overall. Out of Venezuela, spent a couple of years in the Yankee organization. Garcia with a base hit into left center with 2 outs in the top of the 7th inning.
Well, Tom, you said it. These guys hack. They go up there swinging. First pitch. Yeah, attack it.
That was only the third single of the game. Prior to that at bat, each team had 5 hits, 4 for extra bases.
Wow.
So with Garcia on at first, here is Chase Darno, who drove in the first Braves run back in the 5th inning after the Mets had taken a 3-0 lead.
Doesn't he look like Cervelli?
That's a good call right there. Francisco Cervelli, the Pirates.
Yes.
He also looks like Travis Darno.
I was going to say.
He just looks like 2 catchers, I guess, huh? I guess he'd rather be somebody saying he looks like Tim McGraw or Elvis or somebody, because, you know, he wants to be a singer too, right? He's singing right now.
He's always got a song in his head.
He's singing a song. He is singing.
I think JP already has his ticket to next year's Bonnaroo. You ever sing at the plate, Harold?
Not sing, no. Unless, you know, they were playing the music when I walked up. But nah.
What about in the field?
Yeah. But again, once the music stopped, no. Then people think you're talking to yourself. Like right now, he's talking to himself. He's pulling a little Ricky Henderson. See, Ricky Henderson was the best. He'd talk to himself at the plate all the time. He'd be like, oh, that's his fastball? Oh, he can't get that by you, Rick. He can't get that by you. That's his breaking ball? That's all he got? You're going to own this guy tonight, Ricky. You're going to own him. During the whole AB, he would talk through every pitch.
Always referring to himself in the third person.
My favorite one is he struck out, and he turned around and looked at the umpire and the catcher and said, you still the man, Rick. You still the man. Turn around and walk back.
I thought you were talking to yourself tonight back in the 5th inning.
I probably was. Probably right now talking to myself.
My favorite was when he was on the Padres. You know, the veteran players get to sit in the front of the bus. And he started walking to the back. And the late Tony Gwynn said, Ricky, you can sit up here. You got tenure. And Ricky said, tenure? I got more than that. I got about 20 years in the big leagues. He was a beauty.
Oh, he's special.
Two from Blevins, missing high, full count.
You could talk all night about Ricky Henderson stories, and everybody across baseball could tell you Ricky Henderson's story. Just absolutely loved him. Everybody loves him. All right, they're going to start the runner here. 3-2, 2 out.
Garcia's been hobbled by an ankle injury. I'm not sure if he'd be able to score on a ball in the gap.
Garcia goes. Anderson makes the play in right to end the inning, but Tyler Flowers took Jim Henderson deep to tie the game, his 4th home run of the season. 7th inning stretch time at Citi Field.
I got that one. Is that all you got? Ricky got that one.
Your coverage of baseball is sponsored by T-Mobile. We take you back to the 4th inning. James Loney triples to right center, following a Wilmer Flores solo home run. And then Loney would score on a sacrifice fly off the bat of Rene Rivera. 1,360 regular season games for Loney. It's the 4th time he has doubled and tripled in the same game. Doubled back in the 2nd inning. The veteran right-hander Alexei Ogando on in relief of the Brave starter Aaron Blair, who went 6 innings, allowed 3 runs on 5 hits, 2 home runs. Will not be involved in the decision.
Real good power arm, mid-90s fastball, hard slider, but you saw 22 walks, way too many. Command can be an issue.
No, you're right, Tom. It's interesting. You know, he had that arm trouble, came back from that. First thing to come back was really building that arm strength back. Nice play by the bat boy down there, by the way. Off the rail. That's how you get some airtime right there. Make a play.
He apparently does it all the time. Did you see him? Pretty cool there. Like it was nothing.
No big deal. Bullet by Loney, no problem.
The 0-2 from Ogando.
But back to Ogando, the velocity's finally starting to come back. I saw the other night he was hitting 96 consistently. That's what you saw when he was in Texas. So the next phase is that control, because he was the guy that could put the ball in the corners wherever he wanted to. He hasn't been able to do that yet. When he gets to that point, then you can say, yeah, he's back. But right now, he's still having trouble locating.
He's just worked back to an even count now.
I was talking to him tonight. I said, hey, you know, you got that velocity's up, man. I saw you hit 98 the other night. He said, no, probably 96. I go, no, it was 98. He goes, no, 96. I said, all right, it's 96. I mean, 96, 98, I'll take it.
A 2-2 to Loney. And the count is full.
Yeah, he wanted that one. This one 0-2 to full. Did it grab the part of the plate? I don't think so. Call by Marty Foster. Shook off the slider to throw another fastball.
I'd go away with it, though. He's going to go in.
Inside, ball 4, so Loney is on base for the 3rd time tonight following a leadoff walk. Tonight's telecast is sponsored by the Lincoln Motor Company and the exhilarating new Lincoln MKZ. And by T-Mobile, bringing you greater coverage of today's game.
That's what happens when you don't have command. From 0-2 to a leadoff walk in a tie game.
Leadoff man on for the Mets for the first time tonight. Rene Rivera drove in a run with a sacrifice fly his last time up.
I was surprised Snyder wasn't in more at third base. To me, this is an obvious bunt play right here. Rivera hits the ball on the ground. It's an automatic double play.
Well, plus you got Kelly Johnson getting ready to pinch hit for the pitcher. You know, a lot of times you don't see that guy come out in the on-deck circle and tip your hand too early. In this case, he comes out, get himself ready to hit.
Snyder in a little farther at third base now.
That's just kind of a throw over to see what the defense, if he's going to possibly square, how you want to set your defense.
Yeah, I get it, but you know what? I'm not fooling anybody right here. I'll square around as early as I want. Bunt the ball at first base side, get the go-ahead run in scoring position.
And Freddie Freeman with Loney running, you can crash, you can leave early.
Rivera lays down the bunt.
Great bunt. That ball died. If it's a little harder, James Loney, I know he's got a double and a triple, but I'm going to second base. That would be the thought. He does a nice job of deadening this ball, hits it at the bottom part of the bat, and it dives right in the dirt. Watch where this ball hits. It's going to hit in the dirt in front of the plate. You want to deaden the ball, that's where you hit it. Right there. You know, I learned that a long time ago playing on AstroTurf. Every field would have that dirt cut out in front of the plate. You bunt the ball right into that dirt, and it's going to die. You try to shoot it to the grass area, it's going to take off.
Here comes Alvarez from the Braves pen. Chris, the former Met, Dario Alvarez, out of the Braves pen on a relief of Alexio Gondo. And it's the ex-Brave Kelly Johnson who will pinch hit with the runner on second, Loney. Alvarez claimed on waivers from the Mets less than a month ago, back on May 25th. And Johnson traded from the Braves to the Mets for the second time in less than a year, back on June 8th.
And the defense swung around on the pole, but the slider of Alvarez, if I'm Johnson, I'm looking for the ball away and taking the ball the other way.
Let's check in with JP.
Yeah, Kenny, Kelly Johnson has played for 7 Eastern Division teams, all in the American League and then 2, of course, in the NL East. I asked him if he was going to try to maybe improve upon that. He said, I hope not.
Now, where's he living at? He lives down, I think he's in Arizona, right? At home. Wow.
Always has the suitcase on hand.
Yes.
You mentioned Alvarez had been with the Mets, released by the Mets. Braves picked him up. He threw 8 innings in the minor leagues and brought him up to the big leagues. Even he was surprised.
And in his Braves debut, he struck out 5 in 2 innings.
See that? Everything has been away in this sequence here. You're going to get one more away. You can't be thinking pull right here.
But Tom, this is the frustration. That's why the shift is on, because he's not going to shoot that ball the other way unless it's a mistake. It's not by design.
Johnson down on strikes for out number 2.
This ball's up above the hands. Good velocity from Alvarez. The Braves have landed the opportunity for at least one day in the big leagues. A couple of weeks later, the Atlanta Braves.
Here's Chris Withrow up for the Atlanta Pet.
I would be surprised if he throws Curtis Granderson a fastball.
Granderson 0 for 3. Loney the runner on second with 2 outs.
Be surprised.
Yeah, that was just a show me. Remember, we said he's a great keyhole hitter, Granderson. Fastballs, middle, middle. If it's there, he pulls the trigger. Otherwise, he'll let those go. How about this pitch? Did it get the plate?
Yeah, it did. The catcher and the hitter made it look bad. I don't know. I think you have to go after him. You can throw him a fastball away. Now you're finding yourself a little bit deeper trouble. But
his best pitch is the slider. It's the worst pitch for Granderson. You just have to throw it, start it in the zone, and work it off the plate.
But this is what I was talking about, and I know this is not Conforto here, but imagine a young hitter. This is what you see late in the game. You're getting the nasty left-handers. Kelly Johnson, here comes the nasty lefty. Well, this will tell you everything you need to know about.
Exactly. This pitch right here, 3-2. I wouldn't try to throw a fastball for a strike. I think the out pitch is the slider.
Well, I think it's the pitch regardless, because you take your chances with Cabrera coming up next. You go to work on him, or you pass it on to the next guy, but you can't let Granderson break this game open.
Payoff pitch to Granderson, and he pops it up to the left side. That will do it for the Mets in the 7th, tied at 3. Summer events back-to-back. The T-Mobile Home Run Derby on ESPN July 11th at 8 Eastern. And the very next night, don't miss baseball's biggest stars at the 87th All-Star Game presented by MasterCard. July 12th on Fox. Coverage begins at 7:30 Eastern. The right-hander Addison Reed making his 33rd appearance of the season for the Mets. Inciarte will lead off. 0 for 2 with a walk. So the last 7 Braves batters have faced 4 different Mets pitchers. Mets had a 3-0 lead for Steven Matz. Braves with a run of the 5th, a run of the 6th, and a run on the 7th.
First 2 hitters left-handed. A quick pitch there from Reed. Why not a lefty? Well, it doesn't matter with Addison Reed. He's your 8th inning guy, platoon neutral. Lefties hitting .205 against him, righties .206.
1-2 on Inciarte with Freeman waiting on deck. Three runs on 6 hits for the Braves. 3 runs, 5 hits for the Mets. A 1-2 from Reed, high and tight. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Tom, you know, you saw the quick pitch. He gives you a lot of different looks. That was a long hold. Makes the hitter freeze a little bit. Then he'll get the quick release. Nice.
And a base hit down the left field line.
Challenge it. Challenge it.
And Inciarte is in at second with a leadoff double.
What a great baseball play. Nice piece of hitting, but the throw, he gets it, comes up with it, knows he's running, doesn't hesitate, throws a strike, and the hustle to get in. It's just a tremendous baseball play. He knows I got a double here. He's running. You got a guy on the mound who doesn't allow you to steal much on him. It's a great play.
Absolutely. I mean, you can show that in instructional league. Running hard out of the box from the first step, and I love the way he cut the bag at first base. Remember we said get out the highlighter and the red pen. Don't let this guy beat you.
Absolutely.
This is what you do.
7th hit for the Braves. Their 5th extra base hit. 3rd double to go along with 2 home runs.
See, a lot of guys will swing out near the coach's box to get the angle to second. Full tilt, he cut that so well.
And Tom, back to your point about not letting Freddie Freeman beat you. You're the Mets. You're in a pennant race. You look back on little games you lose, and you go, why did we let Freddie Freeman beat us? You don't. So you don't have that thought. You go get the rest of the team.
Mets trail the Washington Nationals by 6 games in the NL East. Nationals and Padres are tied at 1 in the 2nd inning out in San Diego. So the Mets intentionally walk Freeman and will pitch to Francoeur, who took Steven Matz deep back in the 6th inning in his last at bat.
And we talked about how well Francoeur hits left-handed pitching, well over 300, 227 against right-handed.
I'm throwing him a hard sinker. You know he's swinging first pitch. You're looking to get that double play ball right here out of him. He's actually going to show bunt.
Yeah, I think that was a very good idea because the Mets were not defending the bunt. It's almost as if you're bunting for a hit. Worst case scenario, they move up anyway with the out at first base. Now Flores creeping in a little bit more at third.
Swinging away, Francoeur fouls it off, 1-1. We take you back to the 6th inning after Francoeur had struck out in his first 2 at-bats. His 3rd home run of the season.
First pitch changeup, left up. Steven Matz knew it.
If Francoeur really had confidence in handling the bat and dropping a bunt here, this is the time to do it. Nobody's anticipating it after 1 strike. But he's not going to bunt. Not again. That's the difference between guys that handle the bat a little bit more. That's not his job. That's really not what he does. But that would have been the time to do it since he showed it early. Just reiterating the fact that that would have been it. Now, I tell you, I pounded Pound that ground ball out of him right here if you can get it.
Well, two choices: slider to get him chase away, or go upstairs. I think the fastball up is a dangerous pitch to Francoeur. I'd go slider away.
And Francoeur lines one. The catch is made by Granderson. And now on his way to third is Inciarte. And he is in.
Wow. Here comes the, we're going to get a replay on this, but this is a nice job of running here. Nobody's expecting him to go, and he took off.
Yeah, that's a bad play by Granderson. You have to be game aware. The scouting report is you can run on Granderson. That's a fast runner at second base. That's just not another runner here. And then Inciarte takes off only because Granderson lets up on the play.
Well, I got to give Inciarte some credit with that.
Absolutely. He saw Granderson drop his head and took advantage of it. My question is, why are you dropping your head? Mets stalling here. They want a replay official inside the clubhouse to take a look. See if maybe they got the tag on Inciarte at third.
See, if there's a clock in baseball, this is where the gamesmanship of the clock is. You got 15 seconds.
Good point. I like that.
15 seconds to make a decision. Other than that, you're waiting for scoreboards and replays and everything else from somewhere else to tell you what to do. No, no, no. That way you put back some baseball instincts into it. You can't figure it out in 15 seconds whether you're going to challenge or not, then we move on.
So first and third for the Braves with one out. Nick Markakis 0 for 3. He has grounded out 3 times.
Well, I think you get contact out of Markakis. He's going to put the ball in play.
A 1-1 from Reed. Now 2 balls, 1 strike.
Francoeur hit a bullet, huh?
Yeah, he did.
Nice. Went down and got that slider.
Reed really doesn't throw a lot of ground balls. He might be more in strikeout mode against a contact hitter.
This is the matchup for the Braves right here. This is a big at-bat. You got the lefty at the plate. You got 1 out. He puts the ball in play. Hard for him to get doubled up. He pulls the ball to the right side. This is the guy you want in this situation.
We talked about that flat bat, flat swing of Nick Markakis. Stays in the zone.
Oh.
Markakis down on strikes for out number 2.
Gave him a different look after 4 or 5 pitches. Then he pulls the string a little bit more on this one. That was a bigger break than what he's seen. And he fooled him.
So with 2 away, here's Tyler Flowers, who tied the game back in the 7th inning with a solo shot, his 4th home run of the season. He also doubled back in the 2nd inning.
I always find it interesting when the catcher is facing the guy he's caught. You know, Reed was the closer in Chicago when Flowers was catching.
That's a game saver right there by Rivera. That hard slider with tremendous spin. It's the 7th inning bomb by Tyler Flowers. Launch angle is actually pretty low, Harold. 20 degrees. It tells you how hard he hit the ball to get it out on the low end of the launch angle scale.
StatCast powered by Amazon Web Services.
Got a run. Here it is.
Rivera
Safe.
dives safe as Rivera lost the baseball, and the Braves have their first lead of the night.
You know, that's Inciarte all the way. You're hoping and you're being told by Bo Porter and reminding you, any ball in the dirt, go down the line hard. Any ball in the dirt. So you go hard down the line because the third baseman's playing back. And now, watch Cincinnati. He's going to go down the line hard. Now you react and go. And that's all his decision. That's great base running. But that only happens if you're anticipating. And what you're doing as a runner at third, you're watching that angle. Talk about angles, Tom. You're watching the angle of the pitch. You see it going in the dirt. He's going down. You continue to keep your mindset on going forward to the plate. Great job of running.
So Inciarte scores on the wild pitch. Freeman to second. And the Braves have taken a 4-3 lead.
Ender Inciarte stole a run. There's no doubt about it. Getting to third base when Granderson dropped his head. Scoring on the pitch that really didn't get that far away from Rivera. A crack opened and he ran right through it.
Shoot, you can even start with the double. They're playing him on the line. They're playing him that way. He went ahead and gambled with going for two anyway. Bang, bang, play at second. Here he is. Look at how he's anticipating. Go home, go, go, go. And the hard slide.
I love the aggressiveness. It's a tough matchup. Flowers on Reed. Good time to take that chance.
Here's Granderson moving to his right. But the Braves take the lead thanks to the hustle of Inciarte. Middle of the eighth. 4-3 Atlanta. Gatorade Frost, cool under pressure moment.
Well, how about this trip around the bases, Harold?
Go ahead, Tom. You take it, because it really did still run.
You called it out of the box, hustle double. How about this hustle tag up when Granderson put his head down, and then a hustle scoring from third on a wild pitch that I don't even know if it left the dirt, a circle around home plate. What a trip around the bases.
Fourth pitcher of the game for the Braves, the veteran right-hander Chris Withrow makes his 22nd appearance and will face the heart of the Mets order, Cabrera, Cespedes, Walker, with the Braves leading 4-3. Cabrera is 1 for 3, singled back in the first inning.
You know, almost the most impressive part of that whole thing was the Braves bench. This is a team that's being rebuilt. They're at the bottom of the division. They're struggling all summer. And to see that reaction and how much they were into the game brings back the beauty of the game.
That's a great point. Remember, they had that huge comeback against Cincinnati the other day. Playing well, good things happening for them. This is a team tonight that was down 3-0 to Steven Matz. And now they've thrown up a picket fence on the scoreboard. 1-1, 1-1 the last 4 innings.
Dribble again, trying to shoot that ball right by the third baseman. He's going to try it until he succeeds this weekend.
Yeah, not on those inside heaters, though. There's the picket fence.
The picket fence. Huh.
The Mets closer is up and throwing.
It's almost familiar. There it is.
Base hit to lead off the bottom of the 8th. Off the bat of Cabrera. Tonight's telecast sponsored by Samsung and the Galaxy S7 Edge. And by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Yoenis Cespedes opened the scoring with a solo home run back in the 3rd inning off Braves starter Aaron Blair.
And to your point, Harold, about Cespedes and his star power, this is why you don't leave a game when you know you have a hitter like this on your team for this exact at-bat. Down 1, 8th inning.
Yes. That's a great point.
And if I'm Withrow, I just don't pay any attention to that statue take right there. Cespedes taking all the way on that first pitch. You have to assume he's swinging here. Breaking ball from Withrow. Keep it away. That was the chase pitch last year they could get Cespedes on. Not as much this season. Once again, we see him getting into a hitter's count.
Well, I think the one thing that's helped him, too, is the comfort of being in this lineup from the beginning of the year. There's a fastball away right here. Let's see what he's going to do with this.
The 2-0. 2-1.
Let the dog fly. I'm surprised it went 2-0. But the difference here is he's had Neil Walker hit behind him all year, who's been electrically hot with home run power. So he's got more of an aggressive mindset. We watched what happened with Bryce Harper when he got walked 6 times in a game, and all of a sudden his mindset became unaggressive, and he's just now starting to shake out of it after they changed their lineup to protect him.
Walker on deck. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Cabrera with a leadoff single. Here in the bottom of the 8th. Mets had a 3-0 lead. Braves with a run in each of the last 4 innings. As Atlanta looks to win their 4th straight.
One of the best low ball hitters in baseball. Make sure that slider's away. If it's over the plate, nitro zone.
Nice pitch.
And that's the way to go with the fastball. Cespedes, I said, great low ball hitter, has a very tough time on velocity up because of that swing. I talked about how it started, right? The statue take on the first pitch by Cespedes. He went up there, wanted to see a pitch, saw it from Withrow. Again, he got himself to a good hitter's count, but well executed fastball in the outside corner. Sliders away, and the fastball up. Nice job by Withrow.
So with 1 away, here's Neil Walker 0 for 3. Struck out his last time up. Cabrera the runner on first. And Walker takes strike 1.
You know how exciting it was to watch Inciarte? Total opposite. with the Mets. They've had runners on. It's just base to base. If there's one glaring thing that's got to change with the Mets, with this great pitching staff, they got to manufacture runs somehow, some way. You can't let these great years go away without allowing those guys to win games 2-1, 3-2. Just get a little bit of a lead.
I'm with you. I mean,
they
we talked about their home
win.
runs, but manufacturing runs, really there's no team worse in baseball. You look at the percentage of time a runner gets on base and he scores, the average about 30% of the time. The Mets are dead last in baseball at 24% of the time. They just don't string together hits, and they're not athletic enough to run the bases well.
And to your point, they lead the major leagues in percentage of runs scored via the home run.
Oh yeah, I mean they're shooting a three-pointer. I mean they really are. It's tough to keep up to them when they're hot like that, but in a game like this where, okay, Cespedes took his shot, he struck out. It'd be great if Cabrera could steal the bag. And now you got two more shots with Walker and Conforto to drive him in from second. It's not the case. They don't play that way.
Last in the league in stolen bases. Popped up, foul territory. Freddie Freeman, 2 away.
It's tough to hit homers.
Especially late in games, especially against power arms coming out of bullpens today. And it's about time we see another one with Conforto now. Probably seeing a left-hander.
Yep, and he's going to end up getting hit for it.
Hunter Cervenka coming in from the Braves pen.
Coach on his softball team to this day.
My dad was the one who made me who I am, so to honor him and show the respects that we have towards our parents, it's very special.
It would be cool to have my dad out to a game this year if we're playing on Father's Day.
And Steven Matz's dad and mom were here tonight on this night before Father's Day.
Well, you say, hey, tonight is Father's Day then. That's what you do. I'm pitching tonight. Happy Father's Day. Tonight we'll celebrate it.
Well, here's Hunter Cervenka on to face a pinch hitter, Matt Reynolds, hitting for Michael Conforto, who had been 0 for his last 19 against left-handed pitching.
Well, this is the tough spot the Mets are in. Do you continue to let Conforto develop and play and keep that confidence flowing? Or do you sit him down and now you worry about the setback of confidence? He's down to below 230 now.
Yeah, I would have given him the at-bat.
Yeah.
Got that before that out right there.
Yeah, you did.
Through 8. Braves with a 4-3 lead. Changes for the Mets. Alejandro Diaz enters the game in left field. And Jeurys Familia will take the bounce. You guys both thought Conforto should have hit for himself?
Yeah, I get the whole 0 for 19 against lefties. You know, Collins obviously didn't like that Cervenka slider against Conforto, but he's still a threat. He forces the pitcher to make a well-executed pitch because he still can leave the yard with one pitch.
No, I agree. I mean, this is kind of where we're at in baseball, though.
Yeah.
You know, you get a lot of young players in the big leagues, and situations come up, and now you start to pick and choose when you think they can deliver or not. And that's not how the game's played. You got to go ahead and let them trial and error and see what happens. You make your decision. This is my guy you're playing. And to me, if he can't hit in this situation, then he shouldn't be in the big leagues. And obviously, he's a good enough to be in the big leagues. He's a good enough player. You got to give him a shot. You just do.
Familia in to face the bottom of the Braves order. Snyder is 1 for 3. Double came around to score. Back in the 5th inning, scored the Braves' first run. They've battled back from a 3-0 deficit with a run in each of the last 4 innings.
And this is often interesting when you ask a closer to pitch in a non-save situation. I don't know why it works out as much as it does, where it's a little shaky. You see it often.
Yeah, it's amazing how much they struggle. But I think also, one, they're not ready to go. In a sense, you're not thinking you're going to get in this game unless you've been told, hey, you're throwing tonight regardless. And maybe that changes their mindset.
Adrenaline's a wonderful thing, too.
Truly is.
You got it going when you know the entire game is on your shoulders protecting a lead in the 9th. Now it's just keep it close.
The 3-1 to Snyder. Full count.
Well, Yogi had it best. I mean, what do you say, 90% of the game is mental?
90% of the game is half mental.
It's half mental. Even better. It's so true.
When you come to the fork in the road, Harold, take it.
Take it. I've been there, actually, to that fork. Ouch.
Flores. Snyder retired. One away. Quick shout out while we have a moment to the Stearman family. The patriarch of the family, Bud Stearman, passed away this week at the age of 80. He was a college professor, youth baseball coach here in New York, longtime Mets fan dating back to the days of Gil Hodges and Ed Kranepool, but he touched the lives of hundreds and thousands of athletes, young players here in the New York area.
No, that's great you bring that up and give him quite a tribute. That's well deserved.
With the Mets trailing the Braves tonight 4-3 after taking a 3-0 lead behind Steven Matz, who is a local product as well. Here's Eric Ibar.
Yeah, a lot of players out of the Northeast were drafted this year.
In fact, the Braves' first base coach is Eddie Perez. Speaking of the draft, his son, a 36th-round pick of the Braves.
Well, the Braves' #1 pick, Ian Anderson, is from upstate New York. High school pitcher.
Mets drafted a pitcher in the 2nd round named Anthony Kay, out of the same high school as Steven Matz on Long Island.
Went to UConn, right?
He did.
Yep.
Right. And Steven Matz told us yesterday he met Anthony the year Steven was drafted. Anthony was an 8th grader. That's when they first met. And they've kept in touch through the years.
Wow.
Ward Melville High School, which was also the school Kevin James and Mick Foley, the same graduating class.
Mick Foley, the pro wrestler and turned author.
Can you imagine if they were in the same class? A comedian and probably the baddest dude in school.
I see Mick Foley at a charity event every year on Long Island. Always has such a big smile on his face and does so much for the kids. He's actually written children's books.
And Kevin James is a big Mets fan. I don't know about Foley, but Kevin James, obviously, we see him a lot out here at Citi Field.
Wow.
Ward Melville High School.
And Ibar just wants a fastball. That's all. He didn't care about who went where. Give him my heater. He got it and tried to cut in on him.
Familia is the only pitcher I know who moves his back leg first in his delivery. The leg that's anchored on the mound, you get a little hitch in the back knee, and then the front knee comes up. I don't know anybody who's got a delivery quite like his.
Well, you can run him blind.
Watch the back leg.
Ibar down on strikes, 2 away.
Little kick start.
It's a good run on that fastball. A little kick start to the engine, and away we go.
Well, it's almost like a balk move if the guy's coming over.
Yeah, he's not going over it with that because that would be a balk.
Here's Jace Peterson to pinch hit for the pitcher Cervenka.
You know, when you look at the Braves and all the building blocks that they're acquiring and players that are coming on, this guy for me is right in the middle. He's going to be a special player for them. I like the pickup they did, getting him and allowing him to play. This kid's got some talent.
Here's Familia, and he tags out Peterson to end the inning. So we head to the bottom of the 9th. Flores, Loney, Rivera due up against Jim Johnson. Chris Bryant, Mike Trout, all of baseball superstars come together for the primetime event that will light up the summer. The MLB All-Star Game from San Diego, July 12th, only on Fox. We'll look at the National League leaders at each position.
It's the Cubs against the rest of the league.
Hey, it's tough to argue with those choices.
I hate it when you move. Why is Dexter Fowler in right and Harper moved to center?
And over in the American League.
I seriously, the only problem I have with the All-Star voting, and I love it, I think every team should be represented. The only problem I have is if you're in center, you compete with the center fielders. You're in right, you compete with the right fielders. You're in left, you compete with the left fielders.
They did that a few years ago for Gold Gloves, and I agree, it's a good way to go. Right now, the game in the hands of Jim Johnson and a hard sinker.
Johnson, who saved 50 games in a season twice for the Orioles. 51 back in 2012, 50 the next season. Native of upstate New York, grew up in the Binghamton, New York area.
He's an interesting guy. Come trade there, line.
Well, yeah, because he's got the sink back. A couple of years ago, he really struggled. His fastball just completely flattened out, lost the sink. It's back, and a good curveball as well.
And he's going to get you a double play ground ball in a situation you might need it in the 7th or 8th. 6th, 7th, or 8th.
With experience.
Yeah.
Plenty of experience closing games.
9 saves for the Braves last year. Does not have a save so far this season.
What were you saying, Kenny? Where's he from?
Just outside Binghamton, New York.
Another upstate New York. We're keeping the theme alive. There it is. Oh,
Ibar boots it. Flores on at first.
See that ball take off? This last hop just shot on him. This is what I saw during BP. The ball really shoots. It's an advantage, I think, to the home team. This ball shot on him and took off. Before he got his glove down, it's already on him. You want to catch that ball out in front. And that ball just took off on him. I watched it in batting practice, and he struggled. And I'm telling you, this field's a little bit quicker than most people anticipate. It takes a little bit to play on. They got one more game, then they're out of here tomorrow, but it can eat you up.
5th error committed by Ibar this season. So Flores on at first. James Loney at the plate. Has 2 hits tonight, a double and a triple, has also walked.
So, Tom, what are you doing here?
Well, again, I need to go back to the same thing, but the lack of speed on this team, the lack to do anything in terms of manufacturing runs. Flores has no lead at first base, very little speed. Sinker ball pitcher on the mound. You'd love to start a runner. Just don't see it happening here.
And again, you got the whole, basically the whole left side of the infield. The third baseman's out of the play where he's at. If you hit it sharp, he's not getting it. But again, you put the shift on because Loney's probably not going to hit the ball over there. And with the sinker ball guy, he's going to be so hard to put in the seats. And this isn't just any other pitcher. This is a guy who's had 51 saves, so he has an idea of what he's doing with his sinker. I don't see him making a mistake up inside, anything up where he can put it in the seats. He's looking for that ground ball to maybe get me out of this jam.
It's just so strange to see, and we see it a lot. Loney's a guy who does not have big power, and yet you can defend the pull field against him. Doesn't make any sense for a hitter.
Left center off the bat of Loney. It will roll to the wall. Here comes Flores around third. Throw to the plate. And Flores is out.
Oh my, what a relay. Watch how quick they got it in, but watch Eric Ibar's footwork. As soon as this ball comes in, he's already rocking to turn and throw. He does it all in one motion. He's already coming now. He gets a little something on it. No hesitation, and he was dead. And this all comes, if you can watch Ibar going out, He sees Flores, and he sees now the third base coach, and he's already knowing they're going to send him on me. I'm going straight home with it. Perfect one-hop throw. Beautiful execution by the Braves.
Two things I want to point out. Ender Enciarte made a classic play. Clean pickup of the baseball. You want to throw the ball shoulder high, glove side to your cutoff man. That was a bullseye of a throw. And you hate to have first out made at the plate. Watch this relay throw. Wasting no time picking up the ball. And I'm telling you, you can't put it in a better spot. It's exactly where a middle infielder wants it. I was going to say you don't want to make the first out of the plate.
You can't send him.
But I'm telling you, Flores, man, he must have hit some quicksand on the way around third.
Can't send him.
He was dying.
So Ibar, who committed the error, makes the throw home after the great play by Enciarte, who manufactured the go-ahead run for the Braves. And now Ty Kelly, a pinch hitter, sends this one to deep center field. The catch is made by Enciarte for out number 2 as Loney heads back to second base.
Now, I got to say this. I hate it when people say, see, there's your sac fly. He may not get the same pitch.
Right, exactly.
With the runner at third base. So I don't say that. But I do say this. With second and third and the game on the line, and you got a guy that's going to throw strikes and you're going to make contact on, I can't take that gamble. Not with knowing that what's coming up. You got 3 left-handed hitters coming up in a row. Kelly, the pinch hitter here, Diaza, and then you go to Granderson. It's hard to send him there and get that out at home.
It's very hard. Again, you don't want to make that first out at the plate. Flores just not quick enough to make it all the way.
So the Mets down to their final out. Diaza to face Johnson, with Loney the runner on second and 2 away. The 0-1, and it gets away from the catcher, Flowers. So Loney moves to third.
Look at that sink.
Yeah, he just spiked the sinker there.
That's a tough pitch. You're asking the guy to block a 95-mile-an-hour straight in the dirt pitch and think you're going to know where it's going. No chance.
The 1-1 from Johnson. Blocked by Flowers. Ball 2, 2-1.
I love that call by Flowers. Went right to the breaking ball in the dirt. Just saw the wild pitch. One more, we got a tie game. Pitcher trusts the catcher to block it, and the catcher with the fortitude to call it.
Well, you got to make your perfect pitches right here. You can't give in.
High and tight, ball 3 with Granderson waiting on deck.
Showed him the four-seamer up.
I mean, if you're the Braves, you're still playing for 1 out, right? Doesn't matter what the situation is.
The 3-1 from Johnson.
Got him.
So Diaza heads down to first. Mets have runners on the corners for Granderson.
Yeah, I think you're right, Harold. He was not going to get beat on a pitch in the strike zone throughout that sequence.
And now a visit from the former Met, the Braves pitching coach, Roger McDowell.
You know, a situation like this that the Braves are going through, Roger McDowell and the rest of the coaches on this staff, baseball becomes fun again. Because you have to teach, and you got young players coming up, and now you're back being able to teach a lot more than with a veteran team.
There's James Loney and Alejandro Diaza, the Met base runners. Curtis Granderson is 0 for 4 tonight. Interim manager Brian Snitker. Braves looking to win their 4th straight for the first time under Snitker. Granderson takes strike 1.
So look at the shift again.
The 0-1 from Johnson. 1-1.
I mean, if you're Diaz, I gotta go. They're not gonna throw down. They're giving you the base. They're basically saying, well, you have second, Granderson gets a base hit, you win the game. They're not even worried about you. You got to take that bag.
And they shouldn't be. You're defending range right here, defending the batter, not the runner on first.
There goes Diaz. Just foul.
I mean, Ibar is back on the grass.
I mean, understood, but you're also saying we throw a ball, he steals the bag, base hit, game over. Boom, boom, that quick.
Yeah, but what
He
you don't
should have
want,
ran 2 pitches ago.
exactly, because the Braves want the infielders to hold their positions, don't compromise range to defend Diaz, invest in range to get the out on Granderson.
The 1-2 from Johnson fouled back to the screen.
I just don't get it. It's wide open. They're basically giving you the base.
That made no sense because he ran last pitch, saw they weren't defending the steal, and he doesn't run the next pitch.
And Johnson's just lifting his leg up. He doesn't care. They're not going to throw. They're not.
Called strike 3, and the ball game is over. Loney stranded at third. First save of the season for Jim Johnson. And the Braves have won 4 straight for the first time since mid-April. They come back from a 3-0 deficit.
Backdoor curveball.
What a great game for the Braves. Really was.
You know what, Harold? They didn't just outscore the Mets. They out-executed the Mets in this game.
So the Braves win it by the score of 4-3. Back to Citi Field after these messages.